Quick Slants is presented by your local New England Honda dealers.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into Quick Slants. The great Kay Adams will join me in just a second. We're going to have some fun today. But as a Patriots fan and as somebody in the media covering the Patriots, we've spent the last couple weeks with our faces pressed against the window, watching high-stakes football go on without the New England Patriots. And the questions we want answered are really simple. First, what do the Patriots need to do to get on the other side of that glass? And second, how long will it take to get there? Well, my fellow window lickers, I have good news and I have bad news. Bad news first, the Bengals, Chiefs, Eagles, Niners, those teams are up in the clouds compared to the Patriots in terms of speed, talent, and this year, honestly, overall smarts and coaching. Yeah, it's true. But the good news, even though they're that far away, is the Patriots are going to get smarter in a huge hurry because the coaching change that they just executed. You're going to get a very necessary surge of competency with Bill O'Brien. That's going to get you on the other side of the window. Speed, talent, the things that will help get you up among the elite, it's going to take a little bit longer. And there is no timetable for that. Meanwhile, the game plan for this program, here we go. Ankle game. Did you know Patrick Mahomes had a bad ankle in the AFC Championship game? Yeah, we'll detail that. Patriots staff is at the Shrine game in Las Vegas. Alex Barth from the Sports Hub will join us to give his observations. Tight end conundrum. No one talks about the tight end. You know why? Because the Patriots don't do anything at tight end to make anybody make any mention of it. We'll talk about why. Polls, comments, Kay Adams, all of it is coming down on us right now. Hi, friend.
Oh, hello, my friend. You're carrying yourself. Oh, thank you, everybody. No need to applaud. You're carrying yourself a little differently ever since Jane Fonda flirted with you.
Yeah, I think it's done a lot for me at this, advanced period in my life. I've always surrounded myself with some, tremendously upstanding, trailblazing females. As far back as early 2015, I would do that. As you guys remember here, look at that. Okay, throwing that up on Twitter. Can you believe we're going back to the Super Bowl again, kid?
I cannot believe that was 8 years ago. That was early in the week. That was before they won the Super Bowl, because I hope nobody ever digs up what I looked like the morning after.
Yeah, you were fresh as a daisy on that particular Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Monday morning.
Freshly haggard and sleeping. Tom, it's good to see you. Lots to talk about. And it is time now for Quick Fire, presented by your local New England Honda dealer. Quite a resume this young gun is building. My goodness, here's Mahomes. 5 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win, but starting to sound like a dynasty for King Patrick.
It really is, and it's interesting because I would contend, as much resistance as we might find here in New England, I would contend that he is already at a point where I think he's exceeded Aaron Rodgers. I think he will be on a plane with Peyton Manning. Remember, Tom Brady in his first 5 years, he was 10-0 as a playoff quarterback, and the Patriots won 3 titles. And they hadn't even given him any toys yet. You gave him a toy in 2007. He set the record for touchdowns. He had a 16-0 season. So the gap between those two cats is significant. But I will contend that Patrick Mahomes has already moved to top 5 status.
And he has so many incredible moments, but being down receiver after receiver, 4 of his top 5 on one leg, such an impressive performance. We'll see how it shakes out against those Eagles who beat the Niners in a womp 31-7 game. Purdy, it was. Come on, the Niners were eliminated. Yeah, Purdy tears his UCL in the first quarter. We didn't know it then. Now we know it. He eventually comes back into the game. He hands the ball off the rest of the way. He's going to miss at least 6 months. Which means the Niners could be looking at quarterback options. We know Sean Payton, now the head coach likely of the Broncos, as that deal is getting done. So the Brady-Payton thing probably isn't going to happen. They're like a Brady away from winning this thing, and the window is small, Tom. What do you think?
They really are. And the more time I spend on this, Kay, the more I think about, well, why wouldn't he go there? And the reason is really family. And his life is in a little bit of disarray given the personal situation he's dealt with. But on the other hand, too, his parents are out in San Mateo. And they're obviously at an advanced age. You're going to the opening tonight of 80 for Brady, and Mr. and Mrs. Brady are approaching that age. And they're going to, if they had an opportunity and he had an opportunity to go home and play 15 minutes from where he grew up on Tortola Drive, it might be a lure that makes me say, well, why not? Because if you're Kyle Shanahan, last thing on this, Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch, and you don't do it, and you go out this year and you go 11-6 with Trey Lance or Purdy, aren't you going to say down the road, we should have seen what would happen with Brady? Should have seen.
Brady or Aaron Rodgers. There's also, I think he should be going and making a move in his old hometown backyard. I mean, the first thing Shanahan and Lynch should be talking about is dressing 3 quarterbacks for big games with titles and trips to the Super Bowl in line. But that's neither here nor there. All right, let's talk about this. Jeremy Fowler, here's his quote. Bill O'Brien, returning as Patriots offensive coordinator, could be part of a bigger play with the former Texan head coach. Some around the league believe O'Brien would like a second crack at NFL head coaching, assuming he improves the New England offense with a year 3 lead for Mac Jones. He could be an attractive candidate yet again. No, he just got here. We can't be looking at a one and done situation, Tommy.
Hear that? Additionally, can we just say that ageism is alive and well? And it probably always will be. And nobody's going to be looking for a 54-year-old Bill O'Brien to come from offensive coordinator in New England after he had been in Alabama, after he had been in Houston, to come and revitalize their franchise. There comes a point at which you say, you're not going to be the new fresh can on the shelf. Somebody's going to be looking for their McVay, their Shanahan, their, for lack of a better example, Staley. It's not going that great, be that as it may. Your Zach Taylor, for instance. So to me, I don't have the same fear that so many others or expectation that even if it goes great here, Bill O'Brien's suddenly going to rocket to the top of head coaching candidacy lists. Am I cuckoo?
It depends if he knocks it out of the park and what the opportunity is. Like you see, it's all the young blood. You're totally right about the ageism, but forever there's always a Wink Martindale that can break through and get a good job. There's always
he's never had the job. He's never had the job. Sorry.
Had the job. You're right. Bill O'Brien, stay put, would ya? All right, here we go. Here's Edelman on Mac Jones. He's a good kid, but you see people and who they really are when expletive is hitting the fan, and you can't do that as a quarterback. He's a young guy in a situation that he was in. I'm not saying it was an easy situation, especially having Matty P call plays, but everyone's watching you when you're the quarterback. There's something to be said about that, and there's a standard. There's rules. What do you make of Edelman? Edelman really talking a lot these past couple weeks.
Yeah, rules. That's what you do, Kay. You know this. He's got a Showtime NFL, Inside the NFL show and everything else. It's interesting that he didn't back off it. And this was speaking to, pardon my take, and he was asked about his criticism of Mac Jones a couple weeks ago to say, okay, if you haven't peed a drop, you really should button your lip. And he didn't back off that, and he kind of doubled down on it. So I find it interesting just in that I think initially it was okay with Mac Jones acting out toward the sideline, and people go, hey, what do you want? But once it got to week 2 and week 3, it had diminishing returns, Kay. And I think that guys like Edelman, I give them credit for standing up and saying that, not just saying, oh, he's just a fiery kid. You know, they all have a lot of emotions. I like it. What do you think?
Listen, anytime Edelman or, Gronk comes on Up and Adams every week, whenever they say something and they talk about the quarterback position, it means more. It's weighted more. Gronk's got 4 Super Bowl rings, all with Brady. They've seen greatness, how it should look, what it looks like when it works the way that they want it to be. So whenever Edelman, an MVP in his own right, says something like that, there is gravity to it. And I like that he's not letting him off the hook. And it shows some deep-rooted love for New England in the way that the standard was set by Tom Brady for 20 years and how it should continue. Now we got to get to a poll question situation. Yes. Is it, what should I wear to the premiere of 80 for Brady?
No, it's actually not, but that could have been, and I think it would have been fun to put out there. But look at this. Perhaps one of the closest votes ever. Do you, Patriots loyalist, feel your team's legacy threatened by the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce, respectively, challenging Brady and Gronk? Yeah, I feel it, because it's bull. I feel it a bit, but I get it. No, I don't feel it. It's just fun for Sports Gab. And, of course, I don't give a flock, okay? I don't give a flock. Okay? What do the people say?
Dan said, I'm not actually seeing many Brady comparisons. More commonly, I'm seeing folks straight up ignore Brady's existence so they can pretend Mahomes is doing something unprecedented. Patch Chatter says, yawn, wake me up when Mahomes has 5 rings and then maybe I'll start to worry. He can't touch Brady or the 20-year dynasty run of the Patriots, yet it's more probable than not he and the Chiefs likely never will. Mike says, I feel each question needs its own survey. I do feel threatened by Chiefs and their past future success a bit, but I get it with Brady, Mahomes, and IDGAF with Gronk and Kelsey. Ryan says, Kelsey is better than Gronk, and if Mahomes keeps his pace, he'll fly by Brady as the GOAT. Ooh, Gronk's not going to like any of that.
Ryan, coming over the top and off the top rope at the very last second. To me, it's a fun conversation, but the Patriots are going to be on an Everest that is very, very hard to reach. But they might be their own K2. That was a Jeopardy question the other day. Second highest peak in the world, K2. Now it's time.
You're so smart and handsome, Tom. Jane Fonda is right.
All right, that's enough. It's now time for Ask Kay. Is that right, Robbie? Oh, goody. Here's Gronk sound.
Well, I love Bill O'Brien. I love playing for him. I love the energy that he brings to the table. He has that niche to get you to go out and, play your best football, to get you fired up, to get you to want to go out on the field and get better every single day and make big plays. And it was just a great time when he was here for the 2 seasons. He was here my rookie year and my second year. And he was just an awesome football coach on the field and off the field as well. His football knowledge is through the roof. And I believe that he's definitely going to restore the Patriot faithful on the offensive side of the ball.
All right, and he said that was the individual they had to get, which I think was really interesting to hear, too. They had to get him. You've been killing it on FanDuel TV with the Up and Adams show interviews. Great job by you.
Thank you. He's a lot of fun. And I think, a lot of Patriots have a couple gripes with Gronk because he has some feelings. But I'll say it's been so nice to talk to him as he's a player now, Tom, in his 30s. And he talks about being that 21-year-old player and the evolution and how he used to handle himself and party and what it was like up there in New England. And I also love when he talks about quarterbacks likening Joe Burrow to Tom Brady and all of that, because it matters what he says. He's a 4-time Super Bowl champion. I think he has a lot of respect for Bill, for the organization up there with the Patriots. And I like hearing his perspective on any toughness or injured player. I think we forget Gronk. Like, if you go back, I will give this to New England fans as my goodbye here. Go back and watch tape of Gronk from that season he was talking about with Bill O'Brien. He is the fastest man I have ever seen. He was insane. And we don't give him enough credit for how much he had to deal with injuries and adversity and how he really played through a lot in his career. And I really respect Gronk for that.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was very much a mind and mental labor for him as his career went along. It was fascinating to get to know him as a guy, too. Okay, great stuff. Growth Potential, presented by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates. Just call 1-800-GET-HAIR. You get all your hair back. This was from Evan Lazar, Patriots.com. This was on Twitter. The other day he was out there at the East-West Shrine Bowl, and he asked Matt Groh, who's one of the Patriots directors of player personnel, about Bill O'Brien's return. And Groh said, the focus right now is on beating the East team in the East-West Shrine Bowl. Long way to go before we're discussing those things. Hashtag beat the East. Here's Alex Barth. He's out at the Shrine Bowl, too. Probably got his chest painted Go East or Go West. Young boy. Man. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Alex Barth. You know him, of course, from 98.5 The Sports Hub. He also has the Catch 22 podcast that he does with Evan Lazar. That's on Patriots.com. Cutting right to the chase. What are you seeing from the Patriots coaching staff, Alex, out there in Las Vegas?
The approach has been fascinating. We got here, the first chance we had to talk to players was before the first practice. So they just had meetings. And you're talking like, what's it been like working with the Patriots? And a common answer was basically, they're out here to win. Like the competitiveness of the staff stood out, the commitment of the staff stood out, and you've seen it. And players have continued to talk about kind of how hard they're being coached, how hard the staff is pushing them. It's in a constructive way. Players sound really appreciative for it, but it doesn't feel like an all-star game. It feels like they're going through an actual NFL process right now.
So the teaching process, the install process, the intensity level, it's all there. What are you seeing with Bill O'Brien's role this week and his bedside manner?
Yeah, so I mean, intensity right away. Bill O'Brien's the first guy that comes to mind. We only saw him on the field for the first day of practice, but that he was the star that day. I mean, he was very vocal, working heavily with the quarterbacks and wide receivers. You could hear him really coaching them up on some, but not like the highest level stuff, but higher level than you'd think, right? For the first day of an all-star game. And especially just kind of seeing him with the quarterbacks and in the details and the nuance he was going into. And Bill Belichick was with him for a lot of this too. It was really fascinating to see because it almost felt like for him to be back out there, it almost seemed like he was just enjoying being back out there. We've heard the players say, after a month or so of not playing football, but Bill O'Brien, it almost, the vibe was almost refreshed seeing him out there and working with the quarterbacks.
It's funny you say that because I feel like this entire team may be feeling that way after kind of a lost season. To have somebody with that, I guess, impact and knowledge level and intensity is going to make a big difference. What are you seeing Bill Belichick's role as being? He loves these things because he's such a teacher. He loves to get into the granular stuff. What are you seeing with Bill?
So he did a little bit with the quarterbacks and receivers the first day, like he was more focused on that. And since then, he hasn't really had a specific role. He's just kind of gone from player to player. And you notice every couple periods he goes up and he coaches the guy up. Like there was a special teams period where as the Gunners were coming back down, he would stop each one for about 30 seconds to a minute and kind of walk them through maybe a move they used or a technique or what they could do better. We saw him. There's that viral video going around one-on-one with Florida outside linebacker Brenton Cox, where he's actually walking him through a pass rush move. It's been a lot of that from him, really. I can't say that he's been with like one position or one side of the ball, but he's just kind of, when he sees something, he'll go up to the player or maybe a group of players and just sort of, give his piece, hands-on instruction, sometimes literally, and then it's on to the next thing.
Gerard Mayo, Joe Judge are in kind of supervisory roles, we understand. Yeah. Additionally, there is no Matt Patricia there. Is Nick Caley there?
If he is, we haven't seen him.
Okay.
No, he hasn't been on the field.
What do the Mayo and Judge supervisory roles look like? Is Judge very intently involved right now?
He spent a period with the offensive line the first day, and besides that, he's just sort of been back. And Gerard Mayo has been with the defense, but also back. They haven't been as hands-on. They sort of seem to be more observing. And look, we don't know what their role is behind the scenes in the meeting rooms, talking to the players, maybe interviewing prospects, but the two of them, for the most part, have just sort of been watching and observing and overseeing.
Great stuff from Alex. Really appreciate him coming on. Meanwhile, a bonus poll question. Yeah, bonus poll question. Which offensive position should be the Patriots' top priority? When it's this lopsided, I feel like I should have taken the obvious one out. But 71% of you say offensive tackle. 21% of you say wide out. 3% say hot. And 5% say quarterback. Sorry, bro, but Mac ain't getting it done. Here's some comments. John Murphy, third down, pass receiving, running back may be second or third offensive priority, but that may be a free agent signing. I couldn't agree more with you, Murph. Kevin Rooney, it'd be nice to see the Patriots double dip in the draft and get a tackle at 17 and Zay Flowers, a receiver, if he drops at the back of the first round. Free agency class is not great this year, correct. And to be able to keep Mac happy by signing Jacoby Myers and spending cap elsewhere. It's time for this particular full screen, is what we call it in the business, low-end production. Here's what your tight ends got you last year. 31 combined games. That's not enough. 68 catches, 744 yards, and 2 touchdowns between them. Okay, let's get into this for just a second in my slant. Watch out! Patriots used more cap space at tight end than any team in the league in 2022. The total of $23,907,000 was highest by nearly $4.5 million. Are you sitting down? Okay, sit down. In 2023, they're projected to spend $35,218,000 of space on that position. That's also the highest in the league, this time by $14 million. Now, on the bright side, Bill O'Brien was here and the architect of the Patriots offense in 2010 and 2011 when Gronkowski and Hernandez went off. Look at those numbers. for a 2-year period. 266 catches, 3,346 yards, 40 touchdowns. I can barely even speak. Basically the greatest 2-season output by tight ends in league history. Everything from this past year comes with an asterisk, okay? They're not going to be Gronkowski and Hernandez. But Henry did have a 50-catch, 600-yard season back in 2021. He had 9 touchdowns. And Jonnu, I can't believe that he is this, well, for lack of a better word, useless. Somebody has to unlock the guy. But he's entering the 3rd year of his 4-year deal, and that's a $50 million deal. His cap number is 17. Meanwhile, you look over at Hunter Henry, and his deal is $9 million in salary right now. Okay, so between the two of them, and it's about a $15 million cap hit for Hunter Henry. So between the two of them, you are consuming a massive amount of cap space for the 2nd year in a row. The Patriots in 2020 spent 2 third-round picks on tight ends. Neither Devin Asiasi nor Dalton Keene worked out. They then spent a massive amount of money on 2 free agents. This has turned into one of the most massive money pits of Bill Belichick's coaching career, is this position that used to have relevance for the Patriots. I don't know if you keep fighting or you try and work with the guys that you have or you keep taking swings in the draft, but until you get that spot fixed, guys like me in bright blue jackets are going to come on TV on Tuesday nights and bitch about it.